Welcome back again, friends. Thank you for joining me for two more chapters of Because of Winn Dixie. Today we're going to read chapters 16 and 17. It's time to learn about litmus lozenges. I wonder what that's about. Okay, chapter 16. Litmus W. Block was just a boy when the firing on Fort Sumter occurred, Miss Franny Block said as she started in on her story. Fort Sumter, I said. It was the firing on Fort Sumter that started the war, said Amanda. Okay, I said. I shrugged. Well, Litmus was 14 years old. He was strong and big, but he was still just a boy. His daddy, Artley W. Block, had already enlisted, and Litmus told his mama that he could not stand by and let the South get beat, and so he went to fight, too. Miss Franny looked around the library, and then she whispered, Men and boys always want to fight. They are always looking for a reason to go to war. It is the saddest thing. They have this abiding notion that war is fun, and no history lesson will ever convince them differently. Anyway, Litmus went and enlisted. He lied about his age. Yes, ma'am. Like I said, he was a big boy, and the army took him, and Litmus went off to war, just like that. Left behind his mother and three sisters. He went off to be a hero. But he soon found out the truth. Miss Franny closed her eyes and shook her head. What truth? I asked her. Why, that war's hell, Miss Franny said with her eyes still closed. Pure hell. Hell is a cuss word, said Amanda. I stole a look at her. Her face was pinched up even more than usual. War, said Miss Franny with her eyes still closed, should be a cuss word, too. She shook her head and opened her eyes. She pointed at me, and then she pointed at Amanda. You, neither of you, can imagine. No, ma'am, Amanda and me said at exactly the same time. We looked real quick at each other and then back at Miss Franny. You cannot imagine. Litmus was hungry all the time, and he was covered with all manner of vermin, fleas, and lice. And in the winter he was so cold he thought for sure he would freeze to death. And in the summer, why, there's nothing worse than war in the summertime. It stinks so. And the only thing that made Litmus forget the war, forget that he was hungry and itchy and hot or cold, was that he was getting shot at. And he got shot at quite a bit. And he was nothing more than a child. Did he get killed? I asked Miss Franny. Good grief, said Amanda. She rolled her eyes. Now, Opal, Miss Franny said, I wouldn't be standing in this room telling this story if he were killed. I wouldn't exist, no, ma'am. He had to live. But he was a changed man. Yes, ma'am. A changed man. He walked back home when the war was over. He walked from Virginia all the way back to Georgia. He didn't have a horse. Nobody had a horse, except for the Yankees. He walked, and when he got home, there was no home there. Where was it? I asked her. I didn't care if Amanda thought I was stupid. I wanted to know. Why, Miss Franny shouted so loud that Winn Dixie and Amanda Wilkinson and me all jumped. The Yankees burned it! Yes, ma'am, burned it to the ground. What about his sisters? Amanda asked. She moved around the desk and came and sat on the floor. She looked up at Miss Franny. What happened to them? Dead. Dead of typhoid fever. Oh, no, Amanda said in a real soft voice. And his mama? I whispered. Dead, too. And his father? Amanda asked. What happened to him? He died on the battlefield. Litmus was an orphan? I asked. Yes, ma'am, said Miss Franny Block. Litmus was an orphan. This is a sad story, I told Miss Franny. It sure is, said Amanda. I was amazed that she was agreeing with me about something. I am not done yet, Miss Franny said. When Dixie started to snore and I nudged him with my foot to try to make him quit, I wanted to hear the rest of the story. It was important to me to know, to hear how Litmus survived after losing everything that he loved. And we'll read chapter 17 in just a moment. But I've got a couple of questions. Question number 1 starts with a quote from this chapter. Anyway, Litmus went and enlisted. He lied about his age. Yes, ma'am. Like I said, he was a big boy, and the army took him, and Litmus went off to war just like that. Which of the following is the best definition of the word enlisted? Use context clues to help you. A, as much or as many as needed or required. B, very large in size or amount. Huge. C, to sign up to serve in the military or in some cause. Or D, I'm so sorry. As I said in previous day's video, and I didn't say in this video, it is very late, so I'm sorry, I'm very tired. D, to give information or knowledge to. Which of those definitions explain the word enlisted or define the word enlisted that was used in the story? Question 2. How did Miss Franny feel about war? She had a strong feeling about war. And explain why she felt that way about it. And the last question for this chapter. How could Opal connect to Litmus's life? What did they have in common? And let's keep reading chapter 17. Well, Litmus came home from the war, said Miss Franny as she went on with her story, and found himself alone. And he sat down on what used to be the front step of his house. And he cried and cried. He cried just like a baby. He missed his mama, and he missed his daddy, and he missed his sisters, and he missed the boy he used to be. When he finally finished crying, he had the strangest sensation. He felt like he wanted something sweet. He wanted a piece of candy. He hadn't had a piece of candy in years. And it was right then that he made a decision. Yes, ma'am. Litmus W. Block figured the world was a sorry affair and that it had enough ugly things in it. And what he was going to do was concentrate on putting something sweet in it. He got up and started walking. He walked all the way to Florida. And the whole time he was walking, he was planning. Planning what? I asked. Why, planning the candy factory. Did he build it? I asked. Of course he did. It's still standing out on Fairville Road. That old building, said Amanda, the big spooky one? It is not spooky, said Miss Franny. It was the birthplace of the family fortune. It was there that my great-grandfather manufactured the Litmus lozenge, a candy that was famous the world over. I've never heard of it, said Amanda. Me neither, I said. Well, said Miss Franny, they aren't made anymore. The world, it seems, lost its appetite for Litmus lozenges, but I still happen to have a few. She opened the top drawer of her desk. It was full of candy. She opened the drawer below it. It was full of candy, too. Miss Franny Block's whole desk was full of candy. Would you care for a Litmus lozenge? She asked Amanda and me. Yes, please, said Amanda. Sure, I said. Can Winn Dixie have one too? I have never known a dog that cared for hard candy, said Miss Franny, but he is welcome to try one. Miss Franny gave Amanda one Litmus lozenge and me 2. I unwrapped one and held it out to Winn Dixie. He sat up and sniffed it and wagged his tail and took the candy from between my fingers real gentle. He tried to chew on it, and when that didn't work, he just swallowed the whole thing in one big gulp. Then he wagged his tail at me and lay back down. I ate my litmus lozenge slow. It tasted good. It tasted like root beer and strawberry and something else I didn't have a name for. Something that made me feel kind of sad. I looked over at Amanda. She was sucking her candy and thinking hard. Do you like it? Miss Franny asked me. Yes, ma'am, I told her. What about you, Amanda? Do you like the litmus lozenge? Yes, ma'am, she said. But it makes me think of things I feel sad about. I wondered what in the world Amanda Wilkinson had to feel sad about. She wasn't new in town. She had a mama and a daddy. I had seen her with them in church. There's a secret ingredient in there, Miss Franny said. I know it, I told her. I can taste it. What is it? Sorrow, Miss Franny said. Not everybody can taste it. Children especially seem to have a hard time knowing it's there. I taste it, I said. Me too, said Amanda. Well then, Miss Franny said, you've probably both had your share of sadness. I had to move away from Watley and leave all my friends, I said. That is one sadness I have had. And Dunlap and Stevie Dewberry are always picking on me. That's another sadness. And the biggest one, my biggest sadness, is that my mama left me when I was still small, and I can hardly remember her. I keep hoping I'll get to meet her and tell her some stories. It makes me miss Carson, said Amanda. She sounded like she was going to cry. I have to go. And she got up and almost ran out of the Herman W. Block Memorial Library. Who's Carson? I asked Miss Franny. She shook her head. Sorrow, she said. It is a sorrow-filled world. But how do you put that in a piece of candy? I asked her. How do you get that taste in there? That's the secret, she said. That's why Litmus made a fortune. He manufactured a piece of candy that tasted sweet and sad at the same time. Can I have another piece to take to my friend Gloria Dump? And another one to take to Otis down at Gertrude's Pets? And one for the preacher? And one for Sweetie Pie, too? You may have as many as you want, said Miss Franny. So I stuffed my pockets full of litmus lozenges, and I thanked Miss Franny for her story. And I checked out Gone with the Wind, which was a very big book. And I told Winn Dixie to get up. And the two of us left and went over to Gloria Dump's. I rode right past the Dewberry's house. Dunlap and Stevie were playing football in the front yard, and I was just getting ready to stick my tongue out at them. But then I thought about what Miss Franny said about war being hell, and I thought about what Gloria Dump said about not judging them too hard, and so I just waved instead. They stood and stared at me, but when I was almost all the way past, I saw Dunlap put his hand up in the air and wave back. Hey, he hollered. Hey, Opal. I waved harder, and I thought about Amanda Wilkinson and how it was neat that she liked a good story the same as I did. And I wondered again, who was Carson? All right. Those were two very good chapters of Because of Winn Dixie. I hope you enjoyed them as much as I enjoy them. And I've got just two questions from this chapter. First question, what is the secret ingredient in the litmus lozenge? And why do you think that was the secret ingredient? Think about the inventor of the candy. What does that secret ingredient have to do with him? And then the second question is a little bit more challenging to do over video, but I'm going to read you some events. Some of these events happened in this chapter, and some of these events are made up. The ones that are made up are the ones we need to find. So I'm going to read them all, and you have to decide which ones, there might be more than one, did not happen. Okay, number one, Miss Franny told them about the candy. Number two, both Opal and Amanda tried a piece of the candy. Number three, Miss Franny did not let Opal take any more candy with her. Number four, Winn Dixie tried and swallowed a piece of candy whole. Number five, the girls tasted the secret ingredient. And number six, the girls went to the factory where the candy is still being made. Were you able to find the incorrect facts from this chapter? I bet you were able to. Would you try a litmus lozenge? I absolutely would. I'm so very curious. Root beer and strawberry, what an interesting flavor combination. Um, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed these chapters again, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you again for joining me, and I can't wait until next time. Can't wait to keep reading this story with you. Thanks, friends. Love you. Have a great day. Stay safe, and see you next time. Bye.